everyone to the Priceless News. This is news. It's something new I want to do with the Priceless podcast, to have some news from around the world about LGBT and faith. My name is Michael Sechen and I'm your host. And if you like this, please like, subscribe, and tell others about this so others can join in and also hear this news as well as the other podcasts. Any links that are available you can find in the podcast description and on our webpage. And of course, you can find the link to our webpage in the podcast description. So today's guest is Michael Bringschroeder. He's from Germany, living in Munich. He's a sociologist and theologian. Michael is a very active ambassador for LGBT people of faith, especially within the Catholic Church. He has been very active within the European Forum of LGBT Christian Groups and is one of the founders of the world organization Rainbow Catholics. So hello, Michael, and welcome to the Priceless podcast.
Hello, Michael.
So yes, it's confusing. We're both Michaels, so... the last couple of days are marked by the words from a documentary called Francesco, with some words that Pope Francis said. So for the viewers and listeners who don't know maybe what's happening, can you say a few words what this fuss is all about?
Yeah, according to the director of the film, Pope Francis said that he recognized and recognizes civil unions of same-sex couples and supports this and says they should have the right to have these civil unions and also a right to form a family. And that is really breaking news for the Catholic Church, because so far the position of the Church was that politicians who vote in favor of this could even be excommunicated. So it's a kind of dramatic change of the position. The question is this really a change in the position of the Catholic Church or just a private opinion of Pope Francis?
So there's some people who say, like, that's nothing new. I hear you say it's breaking news, but some say, oh, Pope Francis already said that. It's not breaking news. So what would you say to that?
Yes, he said this. He took the same position when he was Archbishop of Buenos Aires in Argentina before he became Pope. And also he made some not very clear statement in the first year of his pontificate. So, but I think it wasn't made very clear since then and since he was Pope, and he really contradicts the position taken by the Curia under Ratzinger and Pope Benedict. So I think it's groundbreaking news in that sense.
But the truth about Pope Francis, the truth. This is my impression. Let's say it that way. It's maybe better. He actually never made an official statement. It's always something like on the sidelines, like it just comes, and then it also seems that he's quite contradictory many times. Why do you think is that?
It always depends on the frame that he is using. I think the very special thing that he brought to the Catholic Church is the frame of pastoral work. And he made this very clear from the very beginning, and he gave so many examples of his own pastoral care with trans people, with gays and lesbian and couples, and now. This is really his unique personal contribution. And also with his remark, "Who am I to judge?" He made clear, I don't want to continue with the moral theological frame that only considers homosexual acts as such without any consideration of the person, without any consideration of the relationship and the social surrounding, the families. This is the first new step he brought. And for example, in Germany, this has been received very widely. So at the moment we have in 14 dioceses we have official people who are responsible for pastoral care with LGBTI people. So and I also know in Latin America and many other regions, this has been well received and now leads to an institutionalization of this form of pastoral care, which is a step forward, I think. But it doesn't solve the problem of the traditional moral theology. And now with this new remark, he makes, I think, also another new step, that he says the right to form a family and the right to civil unions should be accepted. And that is that means he's going into the field of social ethics, and he affirms the human rights also for lesbian and gay couples and lesbian and gay people.
Of course, as soon as I saw and heard about this, I had to go to the Croatian Catholic news agency and see what they're saying. It's actually the Croatian Catholic Network, and they write that, this is not something Pope Francis really believes, but it's what he said he used in Argentina back in 2010. So he would protect marriage, and that it wouldn't be that it wouldn't be equal, that they wouldn't bring the law for equal marriage equality. And also that he doesn't talk about their own families of choice, but he talks about their families that they're born into, and their right to be part of these families, and the families shouldn't withdraw themselves from their LGBT kids. What do you think about that? What are your comments?
I haven't seen the documentary, and I guess the people from Croatian news service haven't either. So let's see what is in the documentary and what he really said, and what is the situation he's commenting on. What I have read is that one of the situations was the family of Andrea Rubera and Dario de Gregorio from Rome in Italy, who had a personal telephone call with Pope Francis because they couldn't find a priest in Rome who was willing to baptize their 3 children. And that was their family of choice, clearly. And he recommended them some priests, and they could go there. And now this has become public now with the documentary, but the telephone call with Pope Francis took place already in 2015.
Interesting. So now, as we can see in Croatia, the backlash towards these words is not just in Croatia. And what I see in Croatia, the Croatian clergy is very good in explaining what the Pope means about everything. So the truth is that the far right, or the conservative part of the Catholic Church, is asking the Pope to comment. What did he mean by saying this, what he said in the documentary? Do you think that this is going to happen when you say that he's more a doer than a talker?
No, I think that this will not happen. The press speaker of the Pope of the Vatican will do this, but he has said only after he has seen the documentary himself. So I think that is another example of the church politics, the way Pope Francis does this. Now he gives an opportunity to form the opinion, but he also says clearly what his opinion is in this question. So I think he's moving forward, and but not in the sense that he defines the doctrine of the church in a specific way, but that he gives his opinion and says, think about it. What do you think? So make up your mind in a new way and under these new circumstances. So it clearly gives a permission to discuss civil unions in a new way. I mean, what is definitely right is that he holds to a distinction between heterosexual marriage and same-sex civil union. So there is no equality in this. Same-sex civil union is not considered as a sacrament by Pope Francis. From what I read, he makes this very clear also in this documentary. But this is a continuous position he takes.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, I mean, especially for the countries that are Catholic, mostly the majority is Catholic, and are still very conservative. The countries that come to my mind are, of course, the country I live in, and mostly the Catholics in the East are extremely conservative, and there are some very, very serious, if not even dangerous things happening with the Catholic Church and its influence on the governments. So can you give to these people a message of hope? Like, what will happen? Like, I mean, I know you don't know what will happen, but what can give us hope?
Now, first, I would like to start with a kind of analysis, because I think one of the reasons is the huge impact of the gender ideology discourse that was created by the Vatican it started already under Pope John Paul II and continued until Pope Francis ultimately stopped the Pontifical Council for the Families, who was the breeding bed, I would say, of this discourse. And from there, it spread all over the world, and specifically was well received in Eastern Central Europe. And I think that is very important and problematic, because this gender ideology discourse is so badly informed about academic gender theory and about life of LGBTI people that it just disturbs and destroys lives and hopes of faithful people. So I think that is, and it's in itself, I consider this as the ideology. So it's not the gender theory that is the ideology, but the Catholic and also non-Catholic right-wing perception and framing of gender theory. And I think that is the point to start, because that is so stupid and wrong that I can't understand how bishops and even bishops' conferences can support this. They just need to discuss issues with sociologists, psychologists, doctors, and they will tell them that the general view, scientific view about LGBTI people and their lives and their life situation is completely different from this gender ideology discourse tells them.
So where's the hope?
Yeah. The hope is really to address this wrong and ideological frame, and then to convince them to find a new understanding that is more in line with the Pope, who is in a way also influenced by this gender ideology discourse. So that's the problematic end, and not the hope. But Pope Francis has many faces here. The hope, I would think, is from the German context. We are in the mid of a synod. It's called the Synodal Way, and there is one task force that is discussing relationships, and one of the key issues is same-sex relationships and also blessing ceremonies for same-sex couples. And this new statement from Pope Francis gives us a lot of support for same-sex blessings, making them an official ceremony of the Catholic Church. Until now, it's just unofficial, under the hand. It takes place. Many priests are supporting it, but officially it's not allowed so far. And so I think we are on a very good way that this will that this will get a majority in the synod in the end.
So let's hope that this wave that is now coming up is coming all the way to the east, and it will also affect some change because it always does.
And I also another aspect of hope is that the pastoral examples that Pope Francis have given are so widely received now. I've just heard an example from Mexico where the president of the Mexican Catholic Bishops' Conference was extremely supportive when he had the first meeting with RedCam, a Catholic LGBT organization there. So I think these are examples that give hope for me.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that. Is there a way is there a way for people to see the documentary? Do you know that there are possibilities?
No.
Okay, dear listeners and viewers, I'm sorry, you have to look into that yourselves if you find some possibilities. Can people find you online? Are you publishing something, or are you present somewhere in the online world?
Not really.
Okay.
I'm responsible for the Facebook side of Homosexuals and Church, HOOK. So in German it's Ökumenische Arbeitsgruppe Homosexuell und Kirche. And but it's not so big things.
But I will put the link.
I'm part of the print world.
Yes, I will add the link of that to this podcast so people can visit it and see what others are publishing or whatever there is to help them. Thank you so much, Michael, for taking this time and answering these questions. Before we end, is there something that you think it's important to mention for the viewers and listeners?
Well, I think this is really exciting times at the moment in the Catholic Church because the change is there. We can smell it, we can see it, we can hear it. And I think it's really worthwhile to commit yourself and to talk to priests. And that is actually the message I would like to give. Nothing is better than personal meeting, personal dialogue with priests, with bishops, and also with the Pope that changes people.
Thank you so much. Thank you for these words of encouragement. Dear viewers and listeners, thank you for being with us. As I said, the links are in the podcast description. So please like, subscribe, and tell others about this. And see you and hear you soon. Bye.